Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead. This week we saw The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 15, which was called Us. Right, so as always, my reviews do contain spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the episode yet. We only have one left for The Walking Dead Season 4, second last episode, Us. What did I think? Well, I thought this was a great episode all around. There was a few main things here that really stuck out to me. Well, the first one, which was a great moment, spoilers, was when Maggie and Glenn finally found each other again. Now, I was predicting that something would happen, one of them would die, someone would sort of be sad, and I was totally wrong, which was good, because it was a great scene. They burned the picture that Glenn had afterwards, kind of like, you've got the real me back now. You don't need this little, photograph of me, so let's get rid of it. And it was just a really, really touching scene to see the two of them finally reunited again. And interesting as well to see that Abraham's group has basically joined with them. And in addition to that, now we have Glenn's group, Abraham's group, or Glenn's group, which includes Abraham, really, or I guess you could say Abraham's group, Tara in there as well, with Maggie's group, Sasha and Bob as well, and they finally reached Terminus. So getting to actually see Terminus, and it was really strange to me that it's actually a location. You can see they've got big fences and barbed wire at the top, and then inside you can see all these different nice things they have. Like they have it looks like plants, growing food, things like that, and they have actually meat on the barbecue, as you can see when they arrive there, and they meet someone named Mary. Now, obviously a new character, not a character from the comic book series, but when I hear the name Mary, when I think of Mary, I kind of almost think of like Sister Mary. It's like one of those types of names that's like a religious type, type of names that you would think, Sister Mary, this kind of thing. And me personally, I got to think as soon as we meet her that, and the way she presents herself and everything is like, oh, she's got to be connected to Gareth for sure, or basically the character that probably took Beth, the cross on the back of the car and everything. It seems to me like it's all connected, and that's kind of confirmed. It's kind of confirmed based on what Joe said, which is that they stayed at a house for a little while, and this guy that was with him named Lou, this guy was hiding inside the house, which I thought was interesting, because you remember when Daryl and Beth were in that one house. It was really nice. It was well kept, everything of the sort. It was just too good to be true. And then next thing you know, the Walkers came up with that dog, and basically they book. But then, of course, Beth goes out. They're going to meet across the street, and then she gets taken, essentially. So it sounds familiar, with what Joe is describing as this little piece of, fecal matter, he calls them, was hiding inside the house and did this, and then we tracked him to these train tracks, and then we lost him, so back to Terminus probably. So that was cool to hear, and really well executed this whole, in terms of the macro, an overall view of how they wrote this and how they did this. I think it was really brilliant, because what they essentially did is, for people who read the comic books, who know what's supposed to happen next in the storyline, they completely and deliberately misled us. This was really brilliant by the writers, Kirkman, Gimple, everybody working on it. Because if you read the comic book series, you would be thinking, okay, who are the big villains after the governor? It's going to be the Hunters, right? So as soon as Rick's in that house and you hear these guys and they're all rowdy and they're, fighting with each other and all this kind of stuff, it seems obvious, and they've got the big guns and everything, their claim thing, and they're, they just seem like the kind of guys that would be the Hunters. They seem like the television series version of the Hunters. Even in the sneak peek for this week, you have Len, who's talking to Daryl, and says, you see the rules of the hunt, they don't mean jack out here. So it sounds like these guys are the Hunters, all the way up until this episode when they reveal that they're not. It was a really nice twist that they have nothing to do with this crazy pastor or whatever, whoever's in charge and leading this whole Terminus thing. It doesn't sound like there's many of them. From the looks of it, it doesn't look like there's hardly any of them. And if you think about it too, and what they do, does it make sense that cannibals would have a lot of people with them? No, not really, right? Think about it for a second. If this person's leader of a cannibalistic group and they ran out of food, what would happen next? You're not going to have a lot of numbers, right? Because of obvious reasons. So it would make sense that maybe it'd be just like one or two guys, this kind of thing, and then this lady who he needs there in order to entice others to come in so that he can capture them or just trap them or do whatever he's going to do to them in order to get more food so they can have barbecues. Right? This is dark. I've said this all season. You guys should know by now if you follow the channel. This whole thing is really dark. So I'm assuming this season finale is going to be like the darkest finale ever of any show. But to me, the biggest thing about this episode, aside from Glenn and Maggie meeting, which was a beautiful moment, is that nice plot twist. And this is why I love so much about the Walking Dead television series. The writers know that most people who are big fans of this have read the books. They know that. They know they've read the comic books, people that are really into it. So what they did is they tricked us all. They made us think that Joe's group is this scumbags. They're rugged, they're ugly, they're fighting amongst each other. And then we come to find out that basically they're not bad guys, and they're definitely not the hunters. After they kill Len, they just dump him. You know what I mean? They're not interested. They're definitely, at this point, we've got confirmation, they are definitely not the hunters. Otherwise, they wouldn't just dump him like that after they kill him because he's been messing around for so long and just driving Joe crazy. Instead, they're a group led by Joe who's actually not a bad guy. And I really liked how they sort of gave us all this impression that this group was just this terrible group. You got Rick, he kills one of them. When you think about it, in retrospect, it's like, they're really not all that bad unless he's lying. But to me, from what we've seen so far, I mean, if that's what they were up to, if that's what they were doing, they would never have just dumped Len like that and just moved forward. Never. Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't do it. So that said, I really like the way they've done that. It was a really nice twist because it's sort of one of those, the more into it you are, the more you get tricked, right? The more, that you've read the books and that you know what's supposed to happen next and all of this, that's how they messed with you. You know what I mean? They messed with you because they knew that you were gonna think that. So brilliantly written and a really nice twist for what anyone who's read the books would have thought would have happened next. So really cool. Confirmation Joe's group actually not bad guys and not the hunters. And Joe himself seems like a really cool leader because he actually has these rules. See, I was thinking these rules were going to be something, damning or like, just bad, but actually it's so that he can keep all these guys in line from killing each other. It's perfect. And you got Len who's messing around and the nice little reveal that Joe saw him plant that thing on him and try to get Daryl killed or whatever, or in trouble at least. And man, just really well. So there's a lot of ways they did that whole idea of kind of playing with us as we're watching it. In addition to that, another thing they did, so they did that. In addition to that, you've got Tara, who gets stuck in the tunnel, of course. She gets her foot stuck. She was already kind of sore anyway. Is that like the third time she's hurt her ankle now? But, like get better shoes, like Dr. Scholl's or something, So she gets trapped there, right? And, now we're thinking, oh, just leave me, whole thing. It's like, okay, is that the direction? Oh, okay, I'm thinking to myself, they're going to go that direction. Tara served her purpose. Glenn's gonna leave her behind, and away you go. Instead, they messed with us again. They knew we would think that, so they threw us through a loop, and they're like, "Oh, it's not going to be that obvious. No, it won't be. You think we're going this direction? No, we're going that direction." And it worked out really nicely to see that whole thing come together, especially because Glenn's like covering her as Maggie comes in to see him. And they haven't had the conversation yet. I thought Glenn was just going to say it. He was just going to be like, "Oh, you know what? Hey, you know what? She likes girls. You know what she said earlier to Eugene. It's like, hands off. It's all good. But they didn't get into that yet. So looking forward to that conversation. I'm sure it's to come pretty soon. But at the moment, Maggie, of course, is just so happy to have found Glenn again that she doesn't really care. She's not really, I'm sure she trusts Glenn like that. So that's cool. In addition to that, we got to spend some more time with Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. And we get to find out, actually, that Eugene is hilarious. I mean, the guy is just so funny. Some of the lines he says, first of all, he's just like motor mouth talking to Tara. Just motor mouth. He can't shut up. First he's talking about zombie dinosaurs. And then he's talking about games and what kind of video games she plays, this kind of stuff. And she's just like not paying any. She's like, not paying any attention to him. And then finally, when they go to split, tells her, "You are seriously hot." It was just, I don't know, man. It was just so funny and just out there. And then she replies that she likes girls. And he says, "I'm well aware of that." He just kind of looks at her like, "I'm well aware of that." You know? So I never pictured Eugene from the comic book series, or even when we first met him, as being so just like hilariously funny. But actually, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in The Walking Dead as that. That's probably the most I've ever laughed. It was really good. Well, maybe that when Daryl yells up to the tower, "Ask Glenn if he's coming." That's a fun one too. But this one was really funny. They got me good there. So zombie kill of the week, I would have to go with the guy from Joe's group that has the bayonet, because we never seen a bayonet before, and the walker that gets his cheek on the barbed wire and it goes through and it rips the skin, and then he comes up and he just poof, right up and through. That was a really, really cool kill. So I really enjoyed that. And all around, man, I thought this was a really solid lead up to the big finale. I'm starting to think, though, because usually, see, this is the thing that sort of like, it's kind of strange, because it kind of felt like the Mika Lizzie episode was sort of like what we usually expect to see. This one had a lot of new developments in it as well. So because they had the big mid-season finale at Too Far Gone, it seems to me like even though we're going to see some big action, maybe a kill or two, a death or two in this finale, I'm starting to think right now that we're not going to see some kind of huge thing that would be even close to Too Far Gone. It seems to me like we're going to see a lot of the characters still split up. Joe's group, it looks to me like Daryl and because Daryl's with Joe's group, they're not going to go to Terminus because they know it's BS, right? Or at least they're probably not. They're going to stay away because they know that the guy who's there is very dangerous and very just kind of like dirty, nasty, and the way they refer to him is as if they're scared of him, so they don't really want to mess with him. They don't really want to go anywhere near him. It seems like to me. So he's also behind Rick because he saw the candy bar on the railroad. So just to go over who's where, you've got our biggest group with Glenn and everybody at the front, or I shouldn't say biggest, but you guys know what I mean. So they're at the front. They're actually at Terminus. They've just arrived there. Behind them is Rick because the candy bar was in front of Daryl. Daryl is somewhere behind them, but they're probably not even going to go there. They'll probably go somewhere else because they're looking for supplies. I highly doubt they'll actually go to Terminus itself. And then in addition to that, you have Tyrese, Judy, and Carol somewhere. We don't know where they are in comparison to the others. They seem like they're pretty close in last week's episode, so they may be behind Daryl a bit. And so hopefully next week we'll see everybody meet up, and we'll see what happens with the whole. I guess maybe in the TV series there won't be a hunters. There will only be like a hunter or like one or one and a half. But if this priest, crazy cannibalistic priest, is smart enough, if he sets that whole place up to be like a trap, like a real good trap, and like let's say he let everybody in, he got them comfortable, everything was good, and then he sprung a trap on him, even if they had a lot of numbers. If he had designed that trap really well, he could be really dangerous, even if there's just one or two or three, members. I guess we'll have to see what this Terminus group is like, but it certainly doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of them. So in terms of this episode, just from takeaways, loved, Glenn and Maggie finally meeting up again. Was expecting something terrible to happen there, but it hasn't yet. Anyway, I should say yet. Then, of course, in addition to that, we had some fun with Eugene being really funny. The development with Joe. I like Joe, man. He's a really cool character, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do with this. Maybe we will have a permanent split or something like that. And what would happen if Joe's group ran into Rick and them? What will happen, and what are the other rules as a part of his group? Because he doesn't seem really fond of the idea of Daryl leaving them. Right? He doesn't seem like, oh, Daryl, you can just, you go if you want to go. That's fine. We don't care. Whatever you want. He tells him, you wouldn't survive out there, but it's kind of more, it kind of feels like we're a couple years into zombie apocalypse now. Daryl's tough. He can see that. Daryl can take care of himself, I'm sure. But maybe, except for against maybe a bigger group of other people, right? If there's a big group of aggressive survivors. But he doesn't seem fond of the idea of letting Daryl leave either. So we'll see what happens with that and how that all kind of... he's useful. That's the thing, because he's got the crossbow. He's deadly as hell. He's tough as nails. Joe sees that, and he's like, this guy is tough, man. We need this guy, right? So that's cool, too. Like, they're all tough customers, the guys in Joe's group. They're tough survivors. They can take care of themselves. And just to kind of finish up the review, so for me, those are the best things about the episode. Really cool twists and everything that they've really gone through with us guess Tara's still there, which was cool because I expected her kind of to die when she got stuck. I was like, oh, this is obvious. Nope, not that obvious. Joe's group as a hunter is obvious. Not that obvious. Nice twist. Really well done. Really well written. I'm going to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. Damn close to being perfect. And we didn't get to see Beth. But I think at this point, I may want to do a separate video talking about this. But just to kind of sum it up, because the review's going on kind of long here, I think it's safe to say at this point that Beth is dead. Yeah. Or at least she's not the same as when she was taken. You know what I mean? Like she's either dead or she's severely in a bad way. And this is going to be dark, but we don't know what meat is on that barbecue, but they may be implying something there. That's dark, I know. Even when I saw it, I just cringed because I was like, oh, are they going there? Maybe they'll switch again. Maybe they won't go there. I don't know. I can't predict The Walking Dead anymore. It's like as if they know we're trying to guess, so they just throw us through loops constantly. So really good stuff and really been enjoying it. Great season. One more episode, of course, be back for the finale. Going to do my predictions video will be up tomorrow, and then should have lots of discussion topics this week. If you guys have any ideas, please feel free to send them to me. I'll probably do a video focusing on what I think about Joe's group, maybe. I've done a few on Beth, maybe one more on Beth, but I guess we'll see what happens with her in the finale, I'm sure. And yeah, aside from that, one other thing I missed in it was a cool scene between Michonne and Carl kind of playing for the candy bars. Really liked that and got to see Rick quickly again, just to kind of see where he's at. So for them to let us know that they're in the vicinity of each other. So very cool. Can't wait for the finale. Let me know what you guys think. Give me some topics to do for this week. And if you like the video, please like it. If you want to favorite, support the channel, please feel free to do so. And feel free to check out any other videos that I've done recently, like the review of the series all the way up pretty much until now. The overview, I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check it out. And that's all I got to say for this one. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev saying peace.